Hello, little explorers, and welcome back to the warm glow of the Katha lantern. I'm your host, Ritu. On this journey, we are opening our giant, glowing book of Arabian Nights. Once again, we are about to read a brand new, wondrous tale. Do you feel that warm, gentle breeze starting to swirl around us? Our wondrous flying magic carpet has arrived. So, find a comfy spot right in the middle of the soft woven threads. The carpet is lifting us off the ground, and here we go. We are floating right out of the window, soaring high into the fluffy white clouds and flying all the way to the sparkling sandy ocean shore. Hold on tight, little explorers. We are coming in for a soft landing, and our wondrous seaside adventure is about to begin. Once upon a time, on a beautiful sun kissed shore, there lived a very kind and humble fisherman. Every morning, before the sun even opened its golden eyes, the fisherman would walk down to the edge of the sparkling blue sea. Now, our fisherman was very disciplined. He had a special rule for himself. He would only cast his heavy nets into the water 4 times a day. No matter what he caught, he would thank the sea god and go home to his family. On this particular morning, the sky was painted in soft shades of pink and purple. The fisherman stood on the warm sand, gathering his big rope net, and threw it far out into the waves. He waited patiently, and then he felt a tug. Oh, it felt incredibly heavy. The fisherman smiled and thought.
Ah, I must have caught a gigantic fish for breakfast.
He pulled and he heaved, straining his muscles until pop! Out came the net. But guess what, little explorers? There was no fish inside. Instead, it was just a pile of wet, heavy seaweed and an old, broken wooden box. The fisherman sighed softly, but he did not lose hope.
That was just the first try.
He said cheerfully. He cleaned his net and threw out the second time. He pulled it back in, but oh dear, this time the net was filled with thick, gooey mud and smooth sea stones. Still, the fisherman smiled and reminded himself.
Good things take time.
So, for the third throw, he prayed for a little bit of luck and cast the net deep into the blue. When he dragged it back to the shore, he found nothing but the empty seashells and tangled twigs. Now, the fisherman had only one last try left for the day. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and threw the net with all his might. This time, the net felt heavier than all the other times combined. He pulled and he shoved and he yanked until finally something rolled out onto the sand. It wasn't mud and it wasn't even a fish. It was a strange, heavy jar made of yellow copper. It had a curious shape, like an ancient vase, and the top was tightly sealed with a heavy lead stopper. On the stopper, there was a mysterious, shiny seal. The fisherman looked at it, his eyes wide with curiosity.
Wow, what a beautiful jar.
He whispered.
I wonder what is hidden inside. Maybe there are shiny gold coins or beautiful sparkling jewels.
The fisherman took out a small knife, carefully chipped away the lead stopper and pulled it out. He tipped the jar upside down and shook it, but nothing fell out. The jar looked completely empty. He set the jar down on the sand, feeling a little disappointed. But just as he turned away, a strange thing happened. A thick, dark column of grey smoke started to pour out of the tiny mouth of the jar. The smoke grew bigger and bigger, twisting and turning up into the sky. It stretched so high that it blocked out the warm morning sun. The fisherman fell backward onto the sand, his heart beating fast. He watched in absolute awe as the giant cloud of smoke began to take a shape. It grew arms, a giant chest, and a terrifying, massive face with eyes that burned like hot coal. It wasn't a smoke at all. It was a gigantic, powerful genie.
Ha ha! Freedom! At last, I am free. After hundreds of years, locked inside that tiny copper prison.
The poor fisherman was shaking like a leaf in the wind, but he bowed his head and said,
O great spirit, I am the one who opened the jar and set you free. Surely you will reward me for my kindness.
The genie looked down at the tiny fisherman and frowned, his voice rattling the nearby rocks.
Reward you, huh? Let me tell you a secret, little human. For the first 100 years, I was in that jar. I promised that whoever freed me would receive all the riches in the world. But nobody came. For the next 100 years, I promised I would grant 3 magnificent wishes. Still, nobody came. By the 3rd century, I became so angry and bitter that I made a terrible vow. I swore that whoever opened the jar would have to face my wrath. And today, that person is you.
Oh no! The giant genie raised his massive smoke hand, ready to scare the poor fisherman away forever. The fisherman knew he couldn't outrun a giant magical spirit. He had to use his brain. He had to be clever. So the fisherman took a deep breath, stood up straight, and looked the giant genie right in his glowing eyes.
Wait a minute, great genie. Before you do anything, I don't believe you. I think you are telling a false tale.
Said the fisherman, pretending to be doubtful.
What? You doubt my power? I am a mighty Jinni.
Roared the genie.
Well, look at you. You are as big as a mountain. Your head touches the clouds. There is absolutely no way a magnificent giant creature like you could ever fit inside this tiny little copper jar. It's impossible. A regular fish wouldn't even fit in there.
The genie started boasting. He said,
You foolish human. I can do anything. I can fit anywhere. Watch me.
The proud genie wanted so badly to prove how powerful he was, he began to dissolve back into a thick cloud of grey smoke. The smoke swirled around and around, getting smaller and smaller, just like water going down a drain. Slowly, the smoke poured itself right back through the narrow neck of the jar until every single drop of the genie was back inside. Then a muffled voice came from inside.
See? Do you believe me now, little fisherman? I am inside the jar.
The clever fisherman didn't waste a single second. He snatched up the heavy lead stopper and the magic seal and jammed it right back into the mouth of the jar, sealing it tightly. The muffled, angry voice started to rattle again.
Hey, let me out. Put me down. You tricked me.
The jar began to hop and shake on the sand, but the magic seal was too strong. The genie was trapped once again. The fisherman finally was able to wipe the sweat from his forehead and smiled.
Kindness should be returned with kindness, my giant friend.
He said,
But greed and pride will always trap you in the end.
with a mighty swing, the fisherman picked up the heavy copper jar and threw it far, far into the deepest part of the blue sea, where it splashed down and sank to the very bottom, never to disturb anyone ever again. And from that day on, the honest fisherman continued to cast his nets 4 times a day, catching plenty of real, delicious fish and living happily and safely with his family. Wow! What a clever fisherman! He used his quick thinking to save the day, didn't he? Oh, look, little explorers! Our wondrous magic flying carpet is starting to glow, reminding us that it is time to head back home. Let's sit comfortably together as the carpet lifts us away from the sunny beach, soaring gently back through the soft clouds and landing softly right back in your room. Thank you so much for flying along with me on this dazzling Arabian Nights adventure. Remember, being strong doesn't mean having big muscles. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from a clever and calm mind. Now, it is time for Katha Canvas. Grab your magical canvas and your brightest colors. For our gallery this time, you have 2 fabulous choices. You could draw a mysterious copper jar, or you could paint a picture of a giant, swirling smoke genie rising all the way up to the sky with 2 big, round, funny eyes and a magnificent, evil smile. Parents, please snap a picture of your child's masterpiece and please include their name on it. Send it to us via DM on Instagram at the Katha Lantern. We would be completely honored to add it to our glowing Katha Canvas highlights gallery. Thank you so much for joining me on this wondrous tale. Also, please hit the follow and subscribe buttons on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube to never miss an adventure. And while you're there, please mention any issues or problems that your child might be facing so we can look up an ancient tale to solve those problems. Until next time, I'm your host, Ritu. Stay curious as you grow and let your imaginations glow.